a lot of things in life are off of networking and relationships. That things that happen to you, you don't even realize. Like they think like, oh, we work hard, we're gonna get where we need to be. It's really not true. It's more who you know, how you can move around in certain rooms, and if you're a good person, for real. People will always lose that aspect of if you're a good person.
What's good, y'all? I'm your host, Beamer. Thank y'all so much for joining us today. I'm here with none other than JaVale McGee, 3-time NBA champion, Olympic gold medalist. Y'all make some noise.
Appreciate you having me.
What's good, brother? How you doing?
I'm good, man.
I'm glad you're here, joining us here on Bars and Nuggets.
I appreciate the invite.
Good to have you here. Now, I definitely want to get a sense of a little bit of like your early, upbringing and some of those things before we get into what you've been up to lately. We definitely got to get into that.
For sure.
But take me back into Flint, Michigan, right?
Flint, Michigan.
You know, you grew up there. In some aspects, a very tough place, but in other aspects, a lot of basketball, and you had a lot of basketball in your family. What was it like for you?
So I grew. I was. Let me just say, I was conceived overseas, and then my mother, before she had me, moved back to Flint, which is her hometown, also with my grandmother, and had me. So I was in Flint on and off my whole life to where like I was here 3 years and then I would go overseas with my mother when she was playing basketball. You guys don't know, my mother played basketball. She's a Hall of Famer. It's a lot that goes on with my mother.
The only Olympian to birth an Olympian.
True. Yeah, so I got to experience so much and I got to live in so many places, but Flint, Michigan was where I spent the most time consecutively. And Flint's a rough place, but when you're there, you don't think it's a rough place.
How so? Because it's just kind of part of the environment and you're
exactly.
there.
In my opinion, like life is about perspective. So if you haven't seen anything else, you don't know if this is bad or good.
You don't know any difference.
You know what I'm saying? You don't know any difference. So you can't compare it to anything. And this is before you can go on social media and see, oh, this guy has a Bentley. He's living life. You know what I'm saying? Like I didn't know what other people were doing. I just lived in my own bubble and I knew exactly how I'm living. And I loved life. It wasn't anything as a kid where I was just like, I don't have this. Why don't I have this?
You wasn't like looking at other people's lives.
No,
like,
I wasn't.
Why is my life different?
Exactly.
Now, one thing I wanted to ask you is, a lot of folks, they always ask you about your mom and that relationship, and I think we know a good bit of that, but we never really talk about your dad and like his presence in your life. And I know they met when your parents were overseas playing ball and then came back. What's been that relationship like with your dad?
The relationship with my dad has been pretty good, actually. So I was conceived overseas. I was. Some people like to call it a mistake, but I feel like I was the best mistake they ever made. To tell the truth. So I didn't. And my father and my mother, they lived in two different states. My father lived in Chicago, and my mother lived in Michigan, and everywhere. She moved everywhere, so I was always with her. So I didn't really get to really sit down and be with my father until I was 10 or 11, and my mother sent me out there to stay with him when I was in the summers, and it was just then on until I went to college.
You would go there every summer?
Go there every summer, yeah. Wow. And actually my senior year in high school, I got to live in Chicago also, so I got to spend a lot of time with my father. But the aspect of me and my dad is just so, like I love my father. My father is amazing, and I had to grow up to really understand the relationship that we had and hear from, I feel like, third party on their perspective. For example, my auntie, my mother's twin sister, she was telling me a story, and it was literally like a couple weeks ago. She was telling me a story of how when she first saw me interact with my father, and she knew I had just met him probably a year before that. Yeah. And when she saw me, she was like, wow, like I had seen, like you've never been that way with any man, because I mean, nobody else is my father.
Yeah, so, it's different when it's your dad, and it's
different.
It's just a natural connection, a natural bond,
gravity.
you can have it.
And unfortunately, I feel like black men don't get to really embrace, well, that's a supposed statistic, but to really be raised by their fathers and get that energy from their father. So but she said as soon as I got there, I was locked in, and I felt that way also.
Do you feel like, because now you have an experience and background in working in media and some of these things, do you feel like that was on purpose, that kind of that narrative around your dad wasn't as publicized? Like, how do you feel about that today?
I never actually thought about that, but thinking about it, there was a big media presence behind me to push single mother, raising a child, and he does this. No one's ever been like, where's your father? Like, they've just been like, cool with it. Yeah. And that's kind of a crazy concept when you really think about it. Like, no one ever, if you think about everybody else's, or I would say everybody else's lives, they always like, where's your mother and father? They're never like, we're cool that you just have a mother. We don't care about what's going on with your father. So it is a crazy concept. And that could have been a narrative that was pushed. But at the time, I wasn't really thinking about it like that.
Yeah, I mean, you're a kid. You're like,
for sure.
I'm just happy to have my dad around.
Exactly.
Did you feel like your dad, being drafted and being a great ball player, your mom being a great ball player, and just being around this family of basketball, essentially, did you feel that pressure, like, oh, I got to go play ball?
I really didn't feel. I felt more pressure from being 7 foot rather than my parents.
What do you mean? Because people just assume.
Just because it's not even the assumption. It's more of I would always look forward to life of what my life would be like, and I envisioned. I was just like, I just do not want to be behind a desk at 7'1". Like they don't.
I can't even imagine you behind a desk.
You see what I'm saying? Like the desk it doesn't even fit that lifestyle. Doesn't even fit my trajectory. Hopefully not. That's what I was thinking at the time. Yeah. So I had always been like, okay, I gotta put everything into basketball, because if I don't, I don't want to say a failure, but I would feel like it could be a stepping stone to so much more, and it definitely has.
Yeah. Have you always been serious about basketball?
No, not at all. My mother really, I don't even want to say instilled, she knew the vision, had the vision from, I would say, birth, to tell the truth. I've always been a kid who never really questioned authority. Like, if it was common sense things where I didn't think I was going to get hurt, I would be like, that's what you think I should do? All right, I'll do it. So my mother always put me in situations that were beneficial for me, especially with basketball, that I had no idea would be beneficial for me. Yeah. So she would put me on certain AAU teams, the top AAU team. Oh, I'm not playing as much as she thinks I should be playing. So she takes me off and puts me on 2 layers down AAU team so I can get the experience.
So you can get the experience,
so I can get the confidence, so things like that. But if it was just me, I wouldn't have been like, I want to quit and go somewhere else. I would, you know what I'm saying? She really had the vision for it, and to really how I needed to be, where I needed to be, and it worked out. She did her thing.
Moms, man, they
sure.
know.
It's that intuition.
They know.
It's that motherly
they stick
intuition,
with you. They always around.
For sure, for sure.
Now, there was a story around, like, when it was draft time, that you weren't planning to go.
No, I didn't go.
You didn't go.
So when we first, I think we had traveled, talked to teams, and they were like, I think it was Cleveland who was the pick after Washington, who drafted me 18 overall in 2008. They had said, if you don't get picked up by we'll pick you up. But they had said, Washington said they were going to draft me, but I had seen so many replays of guys who said they're going to get drafted in that area, and then they end up in the second round and they sitting there crying with their family at the draft. Yeah. So I wasn't going to be a lottery pick. I knew that, but I just didn't want to. I really didn't know my destiny, so instead of going to the draft, I flew me and my mother out to where we at Key West, and we were just enjoying watching the draft on TV.
That's a nice place to enjoy.
It was. It was literally like seeing now. I see NFLs get drafted. They have draft parties and all this extra stuff. Oh. It was literally just me and moms on the island.
That's something really nice about that.
Yeah, it was definitely a vibe. And when that moment came across the screen where he said my name, we both cried and looked at each other like we did it. Like the goal has been but it's just so much more that needs to be done. Yeah.
And you're playing with John Wall and a lot of different characters. How was that experience for you? You're stepping into this environment. Prior, you were like, I don't know if I'm gonna be here, but what was that like?
I mean, it was amazing. It's really a shock to where like you're playing college ball. College ball is very structured to where you have study hall, you have classes, you have practice, you have shoot around. Like, it's really structured to where, like, you have to go to these places, you have a schedule. The NBA isn't like that. Once you get to the NBA, for rookies, it usually is, but once you get to the NBA, it's, all right, figure it out.
What you mean, like, there's no structure?
It's no structure. It's like, you got to go to practice at this time, but they don't tell you unless you got good vets. Like, practice at 11, but you, rookie, probably should be there at 8:30. You know what I'm saying? They don't tell you that. They don't tell you that it takes a lot. And you probably should be there at 8:30. Practice is at 11. It ends at 1. You probably shouldn't leave until 3.
How come? Like, what's happening from those times? Like, if you get there at 8 and then you're leaving at 3.
And I didn't see this until after, until I wasn't a rookie. When I saw other rookies come in and how other teams, when I went to other teams, how they treat their rookies. And you can see different organizations, why guys like Giannis, like, guy out of nowhere becomes an MVP because they know really how to build players and instill those things in the players. No shot at Washington Wizards, but my rookie year, like, it wasn't really structure on what it takes to be a pro. You know what I'm saying? It was more like, yeah, you go play basketball, do this, blah. They told me when I came first in the league, we just want you to block shots and run the floor and rebound. That's it. In college, I shot threes. I scored.
You pull up,
You know what I'm saying? Like,
it's a part of your game.
So it was just like, well, and in college, you listen to your coach and you're like, okay, that's my coach. So I have to listen to what my coach says. That's what I want to do. But NBA, you don't realize early on that your coaches are on a salary. They get paid by the same person you get paid by. So technically, they're your coworker, for real.
That's a whole different perspective.
That's your coworker. That's not your boss. Your coach is not your boss. You're supposed to have very open conversations with this man, and I didn't realize that until later in my career.
Yeah, because you're just coming from this.
Come from college, and like I said about me earlier, I'm the type of person that if I feel like it's a common sense thing or a right thing to do, I'll just do it without even.
You think they have your best interest?
Yeah, I think they have my best interest, but they don't, not at all. And you get a shell shock of that early on in the league, to where, like, nobody's on your side, unless obviously you the star, but after a while, you do too much shit that ain't right. And they not gonna be on your side no more. They gonna.
Speaking to that, like, you were on the team with Gilbert Arenas, and that situation went down, and, like, kind of what you're saying is, like, it kind of went left on him. Like, he was the big star,
for sure.
But then it kind of started to shift. What sticks out to you about, like, that time period?
That time period, I ain't gonna lie, that was a fun time period. We had
y'all was having fun.
We were having a lot of fun. We weren't winning, but we were having a lot of fun. But that whole incident, when I had came into the locker room and then I didn't see it happen. I didn't see it happen, but I did hear about it once I walked into the locker room, like, yeah, he just brought this to the locker room, this and that. I was like, what? That's crazy. But I ain't gonna lie, I'm from Flint, Michigan, so I've seen guns before.
Yeah,
so
I've seen this.
I wasn't like, oh my goodness. And this is my, like, sophomore year or freshman or sophomore year, so I didn't know the rules. I didn't know you know what I'm saying? So when I heard it, I didn't realize how big of a deal it was until the media started picking it up and saying, like, you could possibly get probation, you could possibly go to jail, stuff like that. And I was like, oh, this is crazy. Like, this is my second year in the league.
Yeah, you're so like, this is what's going down. And, like,
I'm like, damn, these league dudes is crazy. Like, they just, but it was definitely something that I did not need to be a part of. Like, we were in the huddle before a game, and we always get in the huddle before a game, and it was right after it happened. I don't think Gil was taking it as serious as you would think someone would, but he was doing this in the middle of the huddle. It's a picture of me like this, and I'm like, I'm smiling. But they catch the picture where it looks like I'm happy and smiling.
No.
I'm looking like, whoa, this okay. They fined me $10,000.
For that?
Yes. Me, I didn't have nothing to do with it. He's doing this in the middle of the huddle. I'm just like, all right, let's start this game.
Yeah.
So they see the picture, they're like, yeah, you getting fined for this picture. Like everybody in the picture damn near got fined. Really, the young guys got fined. It was older vets in there, but I don't think they got fined.
Wow.
But this is a crazy concept, and this is all coming to you first 2 years in the league.
It's a lot coming at you at once. You're like, you got to learn
I just want to play basketball. I don't know.
I'm not trying to be worried about all these other dynamics.
So yeah, it was definitely a crazy time there in Washington, and I definitely think that affected my view of how this game was played in my career for sure.
I want to ask you, because of that, I see a connection in what we're seeing with maybe what's happening with Ja Morant right now. And him being such a young player, is there any thoughts or, guidance you would hope someone's giving him as he's navigating this difficult time?
He lives in a different world than I lived in. You know what I'm saying? Like, this Instagram Live thing.
Yeah.
Never made sense to me.
Yeah.
And now that it's out now, I'm just like, why would I just want to randomly get on Instagram Live? Like, I try so hard sometimes. Like, I'll log on and I'll just be looking at it and I'm just like, am I supposed to talk to y'all? like, I don't know exactly. But now kids just want to be on Instagram Live constantly and have people looking at it. It was like 50,000 in my mind. I'm like, it's only 20,000 in the arena. When I'm playing basketball.
When you playing ball.
So you're telling me there's 2 stadiums of people looking at me right now, just sitting in my house, just eating cereal or whatever I want to post. Dancing to music, you know what I'm saying? So I'm just like, that's what I think of when I think about getting on live. So whenever I get on live, it's for a purpose. Like, oh, I'm doing a podcast on live, or I'm doing an interview on live. Like, there's always a purpose. It's hard. It's so hard. And the aspect of these 50,000 people knowing where I'm at.
Yeah, knowing where you're at, knowing what you're doing, knowing who you're with.
Like, you know how advanced AI is.
Oh, good.
Can you imagine, like, being on live and you got, like, being in the background, then someone's like, hey, let me take the screenshot this, put it in AI and figure out where this person is.
Yeah.
Now let's go jump this person.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you have to think about
it's really that easy.
dynamics.
And I think about that. And I didn't just sign a $200 million contract either.
Yeah.
So it's a bigger target on his back. You know what I'm saying? So my aspect of it, I don't have any opinion on if he's right or wrong. That's not my business. And I was telling you earlier, I do a great job of playing the game of minding my own business. It's an amazing thing that a lot of people don't know how to do. It's an amazing thing. The art of minding your business is so comforting. It's such a beautiful place to sit in.
Yeah.
And I know people who don't mind their business and they live a very stressful life. Because they're taking on everybody else's stresses.
Everybody's stuff.
He's doing this to her, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
That's you worrying about their business and taking that bad energy and putting it on yourself.
Man, you just said a whole bar right there. No, it's a fact. Like, it's less stressful to be worried about everything else. Just focus on your life.
Your life.
Yeah.
Because everybody has enough stuff to worry about in their life.
Especially right now.
Man.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I've done a great job of minding my own business, and I don't have any opinion on him. I do have an opinion, but I'm not gonna tell everybody else my opinion.
That's more of a private thing. And
you know what I'm saying? That's more a private conversation type energy. But this Instagram Live thing and the fact that everybody loves going online and telling their business is a crazy concept to me. I can never get around to that.
No, I mean, and I think about, like, we were talking about the power of the media and how it starts to pick up these things and push these different narratives. And, you had to deal with some of that through your career. And, you had folks that with jokes and stuff like that, nitpicking at stuff. How did you feel about what was going on then? You're young in your career and you're like, to so to speak, you're like, not only do I have to learn the NBA and playing at this rate, now I got to deal with all these other things that are happening. What's happening in your head as you're having your own battle with some of these things?
It was new for me and the world. That's the crazy concept, because my league stint was before the NBA cared about Twitter and Instagram and social media and stuff. So when you would post stuff on there, they'd be like, focus on the game. Like, why are you worried about this stuff? And then later in my career, they're like, why don't you post on your Instagram a lot? Like, you should be more social, blah, blah, woo, woo. So I grew up in the era of not really knowing what this tweet really means, how it will affect me in the future, or the fact that this is going to live on the internet forever.
People are going to dig
forever.
it up 10 years later.
10, 20, 100. They're going to blow the dust off of it to find the fossil of this video.
The one thing that does not disappear is a tweet.
You see what I'm saying? So it's a crazy concept that I was in the NBA, and you gotta think that was my first and last job. So my first job is in the public eye, and I'd have no idea how this is gonna affect me in the future, 10 years from now.
Right.
But it's just so much to where, like, it used to be, this guy broke his ankle. We won't find out about this until the next day in the newspaper. Now it's, instantly. He just broke his ankle 2 seconds ago, guys. Here, let the world know. So it was definitely a transition that I really didn't understand at the time. But now, later in my career, I figured out how to really maneuver it and use it to my advantage.
Yeah. When you say use it to your advantage, what do you mean? Like?
Well, me personally, I'm a big media guy. I'm a real big camera guy. When I was first year, second year in the league, I was shooting YouTube videos before people were actually monetizing YouTube. So, but when I was doing it, like, focus on basketball. Like, what are you doing? Like, this YouTube stuff is unnecessary. Now it went from that to I had #1 NBA show. I'm like top 5 in NBA players with YouTube subscribers.
That's crazy.
Because I had the show in the bubble, my vlog in the bubble.
Yeah.
So it went from we don't want you doing this to me doing it myself, and later on in life and figuring it out myself and being successful at it.
When you started, in the bubble and you were vlogging and sharing your own content, where'd that interest initially come from, right? Because, I got to imagine for a long part of your career and kind of what you were saying, you're like, stick the ball, focus on this, right? When did you find the space to kind of start to looking for those pockets outside of just basketball?
I had been, you know Devin, Devin, that's my guy. And during that season, we had about 3-4 months of the season before we went into the bubble. Yeah. Before the pandemic happened, before that, okay, everybody go in the house.
Lockdown,
You know what I'm saying? So we were filming before games, during games. Like I was content. I got to get as much as possible. And then the pandemic happened, everything shut down. I was doing content in the house. I was, like I said, I was on Instagram Live doing podcasts and stuff like that. And then when we found out that we were going to the bubble, it was like the day before the bubble. I'm packing everything up, and I had just bought a vlog camera. I wanted to do one, but I didn't really know what to vlog about. I'm like, I'm not vlogging.
What am I gonna do? I'm at the house.
I'm not going to Whole Foods and vlogging that and telling people what's going on. Even though I did do an episode of that. Make sure y'all check out my YouTube. Shameless plug. I just didn't. I asked Devin the day before, I was like, I got this vlog camera, you think I should bring it? And he was like, yeah. Like, that was literally the response.
Literally was like, why not?
Yeah, go ahead. I was like, all right. So I vlogged from the day I got dropped off at the airport to the championship. Every day. Every day? Yeah, every day. Yeah. So and then I would load it myself because no one could come in there with you.
Yeah. It's locked down.
Yeah, so I'm taking the chip out, I'm loading it into the hard drive, putting it on the Dropbox, sending it to Devin, and he editing it, sending it back to me, and I'm posting it on YouTube. I'm posting the clips on my Instagram. Yeah. So we just working in that aspect, a real virtual relationship for real. That was like the first foray into it. And you went all in. Like the fact that you was recording all of that content, constantly shipping it in and out. What were you learning through that process, right? Like, and also like were there other players like kind of trying to capture anything at all, or was it like you're like? It was another player, Matisse Thybulle, he played for Phoenix. He was doing the same thing, but the only difference was, and it was an advantage for me, they got eliminated in the playoffs. See what I'm saying? So I went all the way. And it was like a board that was in the middle of our hallway when you get out the elevator, where you go right, left to the rooms. It was a board and it had championship logos on it. And every round every game we had to win 16. It was 16 championships on there. We had to win 16 games to win the championship. Every time we win, put a little championship on there. So I would vlog that, like, next round.
Yeah.
And it was also showed the aspect of teams, once they got eliminated, they left. So
that's right. They completely left the bubble.
Yeah, so it's 16 teams, 15 players each. I don't know, like 200 people dwindled down to 20 to 30 people.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? The hotels are empty now. No one's walking around with their kids in the pool area. It's just empty. It's deserted. Us, Miami.
Wow.
So it was definitely an experience, and I got to vlog it all. And from the beginning to the end, it was a total different experience. Like at the end, I'm just like, all right, what do I vlog now?
Yeah, because they're like, this is the big journey, and now it's like kind of like.
It was, and I also, but I had an amazing time though.
Yeah.
It was a great experience, from behind the camera and being in front of the camera and just being in a bubble. It was something that'll probably never happen again.
Let's hope not. I don't think anyone's want to go back into that.
But it was beautiful though.
Yeah. What did that do with your interest as far as like getting more into content, getting more into producing things, right? Like, I mean, you made music with Justin Bieber. Like, tell me more about like how does that start to become more part of your life?
Know, I'm a Grammy nominated producer.
Yeah, y'all make some noise for that. Like, that's no small deal.
But it was that story alone. It was just relationships. Me and my manager Alani. We had kept a relationship with. We had met the group 1500 or Nothing. They're out of LA. They're major. They work with Jay-Z, Nipsey Hussle. They did Roddy Ricch. They do thousands of people. That's just a little bit of them. I had linked up with them, and this when they were in their studios in Inglewood. Now they have like a whole educational music school in Inglewood. But at the time, they had introduced me to Pooh Bear, who is Justin Bieber's like #1 writer. Like he's been writing for Justin Bieber since he was a kid. Yeah, and they had introduced me to him, and I had paid him $13,000 to write 2 songs for me. Did not use those songs.
You didn't use them?
Did not use that song. But you would think it would say, damn, I was wasting my money. But I don't think I wasted my money because I kept that relationship. And then about 6-7 years later, Alani had hit me again, and she was like, well, you should link up with Pooh Bear again. And I was like, you're right, like, that's my guy. He's a cool guy. And then I linked up with him, and I'm like, let's go to the studio. So we went to the studio, and we're in there. I'm playing beats for him, because he's a prolific songwriter, and the way he writes songs is crazy. Like, it's like a factory. Like
he's just going.
Yeah. So I'm going through beats, and I played this one beat, and he's like, take the drums off. Took the drums off, and it's just this sample. So he like, all right, put that in the machine. So we put that in little Pro Tools, and then we just in there just writing to that melody the whole time, just writing to that melody. And we write damn near the whole song. We write about, I would say, a verse, a chorus, and maybe a little bit of the second verse. And then we end the session, and we're like, all right, cool, blah, 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 blah. Cool, great session. That was it though. Like it wasn't like I'm doing this for this specific reason. We gonna use this. We just had no idea. And that's how producing works too. People don't understand. Like they think like, oh
it's
yeah,
linear.
Yeah, they think like, okay, I'm gonna make this beat for Michael Jackson, and now Michael Jackson gonna get right on it. No, it's a lot of relationships. So he called me about 4 or 5 months later, maybe 6 months later, and my house in LA had got broken into, and his house had got broken into also. So that's what he started the conversation off with. Like we were trying to figure out, like maybe they did this, maybe it was these people, blah 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 blah. And then at the end of that conversation, he was like, "Oh yeah, and you made the album." And I was just like,
he's like, "Oh yeah, you made the album."
That's the end of the conversation. I'm laying in bed, like, "Oh yeah, for real, yeah, that's crazy." And then he like, "Oh yeah, you made the album." And I was just like, "Cool." Whose album are you talking about? He was like, the Bieber album. I was like, oh, wow. Well, that just turned this conversation upside down.
That's a different situation.
You know what I'm saying? So I was like, oh, wow, I appreciate that. It's crazy. It's amazing, blah, blah, blah. And I got off that phone, and I was just like, I'm on Justin Bieber's album. Like I wasn't expecting this. I wasn't going into it. But that's just how it happens. And people don't realize, like, a lot of things in life are off of networking and relationships. That things that happen to you, you don't even realize. Like they think like, oh, we work hard, we're gonna get where we need to be. It's really not true. It's more who you know, how you can move around in certain rooms, and if you're a good person, for real. People will always lose that aspect of if you're a good person.
People want to work with you because they like you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, if you're an asshole, nobody wants to go out of their way to do things for you.
Yeah,
right?
most assholes that are successful just had enough money to pay to play. You know what I'm saying? But if you're not the billionaire in the room, you got to be a likable person. You got to be able to sit in a room with people and have a conversation and not be awkward and actually be personable. And I'm a very introverted person, but when I get to know someone, I might be the most extroverted to where you're like, I love his energy, I love him around type energy. And I've always been that person, and it goes into the business of minding your business. I'm great at minding my business and reading the room, like, okay, I know how to converse and move in those circles. So
man, it's a good thing to learn and pick up, right? Like, but that relationship with people, being able to work with people, it opens up so many different
doors. You're not
doors.
going anywhere if you can't work with people.
You can't. Like, that's just it's a fact. It's a part of it. And you go more into this world, and you end up doing a project with KD called Parking Lot Chronicles. Tell us a little bit about that project and what that experience was like.
Me and KD played with the Warriors together for 2 years. And during that time, he was starting his media content and everything, and then
with the Boy Room.
And I believe our show was actually the launch pad for when he started the Boy Room. We were the first show he had, and they wanted and his people, I believe Rich Kleiman, they knew me, so they knew my personality. They knew how I communicate with people, the type of person I am, and they knew I would be good on camera. And I also knew I would be good on camera, but I just never had that platform to really do something. So they had came out with the concept, and we decided to call it Parking Lot Chronicles. So I would, you want to get an interview, or you trying to get on an interview? So like everybody, it'll be opposite the opposing team and players on my team. So I believe I almost got everybody on my team interviewed. It would be fans in the crowd. I would have my people go out and see certain fans and bring them a lot of inspirational stories. But I just had a lot of fun interviewing people, and it wasn't even scripted to where like. We didn't have no pre-planning. We didn't talk. It was just like
you just wanted to go off the organic energy.
Organic energy. I was interviewing Steph, E40, like a lot of people, and it was all natural energy. Also, like literally asking them during the game, "You trying to be on the show after the game?" Like, so it was definitely an amazing experience, and it went off. It took off. Everybody loved it.
Did you feel like people were giving you different energy because of like teammates, but also part of the sport, and also like. They don't think of you as a typical reporter. So they're like, hey, I'm just trying to come chop it up.
They definitely gave me different energy, but at the same time, I was a great host. I'm not going to lie. I'm a real conversation person. Like, if I can get in a conversation with somebody and actually care what they're talking about, I'm a whole different person. But if I'm in a conversation with a person, they're not talking about nothing, I'm just... All right, cool.
You're like, all right, man, wrap it up.
But in that situation, I was extremely outgoing, and it's still on YouTube. I still, like I said, everything stays on the line forever. But it was an amazing experience, and that's when I really realized like I have a passion for hosting. Because I've always been in the producer role. I've always liked to be in behind the scenes, but I never knew what that reason was. And then I started looking at it later, and I was like, I guess it was maybe because I've always not been behind the scenes. I mean, I'm 7'1". I've been 6'11" since I was 18. So
You've
everywhere,
been visible for
you
a
see what
long
I'm saying? I've
time,
been visible. People always say like, why you putting that hoodie on, trying to hide? I'm like, I'm not trying to hide who I am. It's more like I have to talk to people every day.
Every inch of the way, right?
10 times a day, people ask me, how tall are you? Blah, blah, blah. Everywhere I go. You get what I'm saying? So even if I didn't play basketball, it was still that way.
Yeah.
So I tend to, I don't want to say shy away, but everybody has their days where they're like, I don't want to talk to nobody.
Totally. Yeah. If you do that all the time, you're like, you kind of just want your own privacy. Yeah.
So I definitely enjoyed that energy though, to be in front of the camera and really host it, and I plan on doing more things like that for sure.
Yeah. What you working on now? Anything you could share that some projects that you're excited about?
Yeah, for sure. I have a show coming up on my YouTube channel. I'm changing my whole outline of my YouTube channel to shy more away from me being in front of the camera, even though I am going to have some of those shows on there, but more of a media company aspect to where like I also have shows that I produce and I executive produce and I put out. I currently have one in production right now with this AAU team in Dallas that's more of a last chance university energy, but from a sixth grade aspect.
From a sixth grade aspect.
A sixth grade aspect. So you got their parents arguing, wanting more player time, the coaches. Like it's really an amazing show, and it really just shows like the intensity and the seriousness
at a very
young age. In the South too. People don't really realize how in Dallas, people don't really realize how serious basketball is in the South. Like in the world, period. Yeah. But in the South, it's like a farm. Like they're like breeding basketball players. The next whoever it is.
How serious are the kids taking it at that age?
Serious, dead serious. They got the armbands, the goggles, the headbands. They
got the hair, got everything.
They got their celebrations ready when they shoot threes. Like we didn't have celebrations when we were kids. Like, but we also didn't have social media where we can see it being replayed over and over and over. Oh, this is what I'm supposed to do when I shoot a three. Okay, cool. You know what I'm saying?
Literally,
it wasn't like that.
Every corner
of the game. Yeah. But it's good for the kids too, because I feel like more kids now actually, even though some don't understand the game, but some are actually getting an understanding of the game at a young age also.
Just through what they can see, right?
Just through what they can see.
What we grew up on, you can only see essentially what was on, TV, what was on ESPN, TNT,
and
right?
And one mixtapes and things like that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
But now you get it from so many different accounts and perspectives.
And I always say this, I believe in college for sure. If college is your route, go ahead. But YouTube University is a hell of a school.
And it's free.
It's free. You can learn everything from building a house to how to play basketball. Yeah. Like, it just doesn't make sense how much information is on there. And you literally just have to go. People are literally giving you the game from different aspects.
All you gotta do is search.
Yeah, so
sometimes you ain't gotta do that
at all. Once you search it, the algorithm will put more into you. Yeah. Like it's crazy. Yeah. So I just feel like this technology age really helps that for sure.
And helping those kids and getting them to learn the game. Speaking of the game, so while you have more of these projects in this world, you're also still an active player, right? I know it's off season. You chilling, doing other things. What's your perspective on, off season? Where you want your career to go next?
I have 2 more years on my contract with the Dallas Mavericks, so I'm just enjoying that. But at the same aspect, you also have to realize a lot of players tend to lose that passion for the game. You know what I'm saying? Once they get in here, they forget what got them here. And that's definitely something everybody goes through. I feel like if you're gonna have a minimum of a month or 2 where you're like, I gotta lock back in. I gotta get back focused. You know what I'm saying? I'm having too much fun, or I'm in a rut. Like it's always something to where you gotta be like, just break it down to the simplest form and get back to basketball. Yeah. Get back in the gym. Go shoot. Go run. Go get to what early on you thought you needed to do to get where you are now, and just get that mindset back. So
how do you do that? Right? Because it's not always easy to get back locked into that zone, but where do you go? What's your process to get back locked into,
I like to set goals. I'm a big goal setter. Yeah. A goal, and it doesn't have to be even major goals. My goal is to win 3 NBA championships. No, it's more of a goal to like they say, get 1% better every day. And even a goal of, okay, I'm gonna take this break. I'm not gonna touch a basketball for 2 weeks, 3 weeks. But setting that goal of immediately when I do touch the basketball, I'm gonna take it serious, or I'm gonna build up, and I'm gonna make sure my team is together, my PT guy, my training, my lifting, it's building a real team around yourself and making sure that everybody's in motion when you're ready to go. Yeah. And that's just something I figured out longer in the league. That's what it really takes.
Yeah, to play consistently, consecutively.
Really locking in and getting back to the simplest form of basketball.
Totally. Okay, so now we're gonna jump into a bit of a segment here. It's called Locker Room Talk.
All right.
And so I'm gonna give you a couple names of teammates, and you're gonna give me a story of your experience with them, right? So, Steph and Clay.
Steph and Clay. Steph, first of all, might be the nicest guy I've ever met in my life. Like, you think of those people who are just like good people, and you're just like, they can't do anything wrong. There's something wrong.
There's something wrong with him.
I don't think there's anything wrong with Steph. I think he's really following that line. It's a crazy concept, but he's a really good guy who sticks to himself and handles his business, and a great family man, and really, and also can shoot that thing.
Yeah.
With the best of them. You know what I'm saying? One of the best perennial all-stars you'll ever meet.
Yeah.
But really a nice guy. Clay is that's my guy. He's hilarious, man. Like, people don't really realize who Clay is, but he's really he's a surfer at heart. He's really that guy. It's so funny to me because that was one of my good friends where I was always over his house and just enjoying that energy and that team camaraderie. And he's really like a chill dude who has no problems, loves his dog.
Yeah. He keeps it simple.
Keeps it really simple, bro. He has a nice house. He's making a lot of money, but he's not chained up with the blah blah.
A bunch of stuff.
Very simple lifestyle, but also likes to have fun, and we had a really good time. We had moments. I'm on Snap. I have a memory on my Snapchat, and it comes up every time. And it was from the second championship, and I was videotaping. We was like in the hotel room just chilling, and I'm like, he's like, from this day, we gonna win a championship together, blah, blah. And I had that video, and I always look back at it when it pops up. It's crazy. And we won a championship that year.
Yeah.
So it was just a cool concept when that comes up every time. I'm just like, wow, that's dope. So those two guys are clearly the best, some of the best shooters to ever do it, but they also just good guys, man.
Facts.
Yeah.
Facts. Draymond Green.
Draymond, man, a personality, man. Like, everybody can't handle the energy of Draymond. Draymond is his own person, and he doesn't care about anybody else's opinion of what he has going on. And everybody can't handle that. Everybody can't handle that. Some people shy away, some people speak up, but he has his own energy, but it's warranted. You know what I'm saying? That team needs his energy. If he decides to leave this year, I don't know how the aspect of that team
changes
completely, just because he's really the glue to that team, the inspiration, even though he might not put up the stats that you say he should put up, but it's a major part for sure.
Anthony Davis.
The Brow. Real good dude, man. Real good dude. It was great playing next to him at center, him power forward, and we really had a dynamic defense that year in 2020 when we won the championship, and it was truly amazing seeing him out there and doing this thing, and how versatile he is on offense and defense. It's really cool.
Yeah. I got one more for you. J.R. Smith.
J.R. Smith. The funny part about J.R. Smith is first of all, people know it now, but he's an amazing golfer.
Yeah, just seeing that start to develop. And like,
we used to golf in the bubble, and he would just go out there, shorts, no shirt, backwards hat, because we're the only ones out there. We're the only ones on the golf course.
Yeah.
There's literally no one else there.
Which is a rare thing, because most golf courses have like these crazy dress codes, and like you can't just do what you want. So
we out there chilling.
Dope. Y'all out there doing your thing.
Flip flops. We ain't even got golf shoes on. We maxing and relaxing. And also him, and KCP, Kentavious Caldwell Pope, we were the best trio in Call of Duty because there was nothing else to do in the bubble. So after practice, you on, we texting each other in the group chat. We literally, his room, JR's room, KCP's room. You get what I'm saying? I mean, my room. You get what I'm saying? We're in the same side of the hotel. So we literally like peeking out, like, you about to get on? Yeah, hey, you got an extra controller, mine broke. So it was definitely great. I got great experiences with JR in the bubble for sure.
Yeah, man, that golf story is legendary. You played with a lot of greats throughout your career and greats of our generation. and now you're playing with Luka and Kyrie. What's it like to be on that team and play with those guys?
I mean, like you said, I play with a lot of people, a lot of great people, a lot of Hall of Famers, to tell the truth. And it's just cool seeing different aspects of how people work, how people's personalities, how people are off and on the court. I really had a front row view of a lot of basketball players and behind the scene energy of basketball players from how the media perceives them and how they really are. When it comes to Kyrie, I'm extremely close to Kyrie to where like that's my guy. Like great energy, very thoughtful, thinks a lot of things through before he says them, and a lot of things that he says you have to low key go back and research it and be like, oh, that's what he meant. I didn't really even think about it like that. You know what I'm saying? So a very well thought out guy and just an all around good guy.
Yeah.
I really rocks with Kyrie. And Luka is a anomaly really.
It's
Crazy. It's watching that up close is so weird just because it's very slow and monotonous, but at the same time, he knows exactly where he's gonna go. He knows exactly what he's gonna do. Yeah. If he passes you the ball, you might not be ready for it, but it's gonna be right in the pocket. It's a crazy concept just seeing that young of a player with such a basketball mind at such a young age. But it makes sense him playing professional since he was like 15.
Mad young, he's been in it.
I was thinking about that aspect, and I don't think people really can fathom, like, do you understand how serious it is to be 15 years old playing with grown men and starting over grown men? So I couldn't imagine like playing in the NBA now. I'm 35, and a 15-year-old comes in and killing at that, starting the face of the franchise. Yeah. And you got to sit back and be like, man.
Like, do your thing.
He going home and eating macaroni and cheese, bro. Like, and giving dudes 30. Like, it's a crazy concept. And then to come to the NBA and just pick up where he left off.
Yeah, just seamlessly integrate into the system. Yeah.
So I couldn't imagine the behind the scenes pressure that is as a younger person, but he's handling it really well.
What do you think are some of the things y'all hope to work on this summer before you head into the next season?
Definitely working on getting the team right, getting everybody locked in to the goal at hand, which is obviously a championship, and just getting the camaraderie right and everybody, and hoping all the pieces fall into place to make a run at a title.
Yeah, man. Yeah, you still got championship on your mind.
That's it, man. That's the only thing you can have on your mind. That's what I figured out in this long 15 career year that I've had.
Yeah. So you got this long career, right? Like longevity to me is a part of this legacy of yours. Where does that come from, right? Like as you think about where your career is going, what does longevity mean to you?
Longevity is health over anything. People think like you want to play and just keep playing, but if you hurting every day, that's not really
it's not fun anymore.
It's not fun anymore. It's not really it's not a job. That's more of I don't know. It's just not fun. And I'm healthy. I'm really conscious about my health, a lot more conscious than I was when I was younger. But I mean, that comes with age. That comes with anything. Everybody has to eat better once they get older. You get what I'm saying? And that's what really drives me now, rather than just accolades. It's really just being healthy, playing to the best of my ability, and helping my team win, and making sure that I could bring that energy every night. Yeah. And that's just what I'm excited about. And I don't feel old. You get what I'm saying? In NBA years,
I get what you're saying.
In NBA years, I'm 60 years old.
Yeah, and it's different. Like the fact that you're still active and you're contributing in a major way. It's not like you're not like putting up stats that don't matter. Like you're a change agent when you're on the court, right? Sure. How long do you think you want to go?
I want to go 20 years. I'm not gonna lie.
Where'd that number come from?
I've seen it happen. You get what I'm saying? It's hard. Kareem, I believe, played 20 years. And this is before PT and me being able to go to cryo down the street and things like that. So I'm like, if he can do it for 20 years at a high level, he was playing at a high level for 20 years, I don't see why I can't do it for 20 years. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And there's a lot of players like that, where I'm just like, how can they play for this long? But it's definitely, and I knew Kareem was into yoga and all of those things, and I'm also into things like that also, about keeping your body up and your heart and even your mind. You get what I'm saying? Just taking care of everything. So yeah, I think I can last this thing out for 20 years. Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about legacy, right? There's been parts of your career where you've had injuries and health-related things where there were moments where you didn't think you would play again, right? Can you tell us a little bit about some of that? Because it's not as widely known that you were having some of these issues.
I'll say the first part first is the fact that I didn't find out I had asthma until my second year in the NBA.
Ooh, how'd you find that out?
Because one of the trainers was just like confused at how like I would go out there and play and then be tired in 2 minutes, 2-3 minutes. And he saw me working out. He saw me doing all the conditioning, blah. So we finally had went and got like a little pulmonary test or whatever, and then they found out I had asthma, like bad asthma. So
you had been dealing with this whole time?
High school, college, you know what I'm saying? So I always think in my mind of like, damn, what if I would have found this out in high school?
Yeah.
Like I made it not knowing. Yeah. How much crazier could I have been if I had known?
And I could deal with it earlier.
You know what I'm saying? But yeah, so around my 7th year in college, I broke I don't want to say broke, I had a hairline fracture in my shin. So it's a very small fracture. But
and it was just from just playing
wear and
ball.
tear. Yeah, just wear and tear. And it's a very small fracture, and the only way to heal it is they give you 2 options. Well, they gave me 2 options. It was you can sit out 6 months and just try to see if it'll heal, take these like bone healing pills or whatever, or get surgery. So I've never been a surgery person, so I was like, I'm waiting these 6 months.
Wait it out, I'm not doing that.
I ain't doing that. So I waited, and then the 6 months came around, they like, it's still there. So I'm like, fuck, I just wasted 6 months. Like, I could have been in recovery already. Yeah. So I'm like, all right, I got to get the surgery. The way they do a stretch line hairline fracture surgery is, look, I can see it in your face.
Yeah, I'm already, the knives and stuff, I'm already
it's a crazy concept. So the thing, what they do is they take so you got a leg. Y'all know what a leg is, right? Yeah, everybody knows what a leg is. You got your shin bone, and then you got your thigh bone, whatever. So it was in my shin. It was like in this area. It's a small hairline fracture. In order for bone to grow, they have to break it all the way through. So it's a small hairline fracture. They just drill it all the way through, and then they put little bone fragments in there so it'll graft it and grow in there and regrow. But not only that, they have to put a rod in your legs.
Wait, you got a rod in your leg?
So right now I have a titanium rod in my leg from here all the way down here in the middle of my bone.
But I thought you said it was just like here.
That's what I thought too. I thought like, just do that, but that's not it. What they had to do is cut right in my knee, open up my patella, and insert the rod all the way through. What they usually do is also put screws in your ankle and screws in your knee. Yeah. But I opted out to not get the screws because that just didn't make sense to me. I was like, why do we need screws? You're literally putting it in the middle of my bone. That's a pretty tight area. I think it'll be okay. And so I didn't get the screws. Most people get the screws. But but once I did that, they were just like, they gave me, these 2 words really kept me going. And it's a crazy concept if you really think about it, and just shows you how an athlete's mindset of, especially I didn't have kids at this time either. Yeah. So if you don't have kids, you really don't care. You like, I'll do anything. I'll run through a wall. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. When you get kids, you're like, yeah, I might not run through the wall. I might walk around it or something. But the one thing they told me was like, okay, so you have the rod in there, can't break it again. So I was writing off those 2 words, that statement alone, like, well, at least I can't break it.
At least I can't break it.
So for the next 2 years, I'm playing through pain because it's still hurting. You know what I'm saying? I'm still hurting in that spot. It's healed. I look at the x-ray, it still says it's completely healed. So the next 2 years, I'm still playing through pain, not playing to my fullest ability. I'm like, it still hurts, but he said I can't break it, so get over the pain. Yeah, like is this really pain? If it can't break, then how much pain could it be? So I'm fighting through pain for about 2 years, and I say 2.5 years in, it was like finally like, okay, I don't think I feel it anymore. Oh, okay, I can jump off that leg. I started jumping off 2 legs.
Oh, work, because you were probably
I was like
compensating to the right
at
side.
first, I was only a 1-leg jumper. Jump off my left leg, and I get the highest. But then I was like, well, I got to jump off 2 legs just to disperse the weight.
Yeah.
And that day, I figured out that I can jump off 1 leg again. I was like, okay, I'm good now.
Yeah.
But that 2.5 years of this might be it.
What's happening psychologically with that, right? Because you want to be able to trust that leg, but you're having trouble.
It's definitely a aspect that you really sit down in the mirror and look at yourself and be like, is this for me? Was this meant to be? Is this the end of my career? And this is only 7 years in. I'm at 15 years, so that's eight years later.
Sensitive.
You know what I'm saying? So I'm just sitting there and I really had moments where, and I don't even want to say depression. I wasn't depressed, but I was just really sitting back and looking at myself to where it'd be like, what's next? Like, because this basketball shit might not work no more because this shit still hurt. That whole 2.5 years, and it's not like I'm on teams. I got the year that I got hurt, I believe I waited 6 months and then I got the surgery. So the whole year passed. I didn't even play that season. And then I got, and then they traded me to Philly and then from Denver, and then I got waived. So now I'm just training and by myself without a team.
Yeah.
So it's definitely a aspect of belief in yourself and keep going. I had to really restart my mindset to where, like in the beginning, to where like, all right, we gotta start from ground zero and we really gotta rebuild this and make sure everything's stable and you're doing the right things.
Yeah, you really gotta believe in yourself. When no one's around, like that work happens in the shadows is like, it's a testament to you and your mindset, because if you didn't do that work, we wouldn't be talking about you going into, trying to make it to 20 years
exactly
in the league.
And then when I got in the league, I never even knew people lasted that long. I thought the average of NBA player, the average career as an NBA player is 3 to 4 years.
Oh, word.
Like that's the average. So 450 players every year. On most of them, and then you got to think of 60 players, new players every year.
Every year.
So I mean, if it's 60 in, I mean it's 60 out. So it's just a blessing, I guess, that I wasn't one of those 60 out. You know what I'm saying? But it's definitely a aspect that you got to sit down as a man and look at yourself and be like, man up. Like, are you gonna fight through this, or are you gonna give up and just go with everybody else who hasn't done anything are telling you how you're supposed to be?
Because they will try to talk you out of what you
definitely
do.
tell you their own insecurities. Like, I don't think you can do it. Like, I didn't ask you what you think I can do. You know what I'm saying?
I feel you.
I'm myself. I know what I can do, or I hope I know what I hope I can do.
Yeah.
I'm gonna try my best.
I'm
gonna find out. I'm gonna do everything that I gotta do to find out. And if it fails in the end, then at least I tried. I ain't got that in the back of my mind like, damn, I could have did this different.
Yeah. Well, we're going to take some questions from the audience, if that's okay with you.
For sure.
All right, y'all. Let's get into it. Let me see some hands. Who's got a question for JaVale?
Hi. Out of all the cities that you played for and all the cities that you lived in, I was wondering what city made you feel most at home?
What's your name?
Jasper.
Jasper. That's a cool name. Most at home city, I would say Dallas feels the most at home for me. Like it's a real home city. Now, if you say like a city that I had most fun in, it would probably be LA. But
Yes, sir.
But a home feeling, definitely Dallas. Yeah.
Jasper, appreciate your question. Next, we'll go here.
I noticed your hat, very much support it. So I was wondering how growing up in Flint inspired you to start your nonprofit of Jug Life.
So I didn't mention what Jug Life is. Jug Life is my foundation. We promote drinking, saving, and recycling water all across the globe. We build water wells in Uganda, when I started it, it didn't have anything to do with Flint, because growing up in Flint, Flint water aspect, the Flint water aspect happened, or we knew about it. It came out into the media and the public while I was in the NBA. So I didn't grow up in that aspect. But when I found out, I had already had my foundation started already. So that was it just made me even go harder when it came to my foundation, to where like, wow, it's even in my own backyard that this is happening, not only in countries like Uganda. So it's definitely a inspiring thing that I have something personal, as in my city, that has water issues, but it's also an inspiring thing that I get to go all the way back, all the way to Uganda. I go to Uganda every summer, and we build water wells, and I get to feed off of that energy of people who really need water, who really have to walk 20 miles to a contaminated borehole where they it's a jerry can, it's a 20-pound jerry can, it's like a gas can. They dip it in the water, fill it up, and it's infected water. This isn't good water. People clean their animals drink out of this water. Animals defecate in this water. People clean their bikes in this water, and then kids walk 20 miles, take this water back to their village to contaminate the whole village. So it's definitely a blessing that I'm able to help and build water wells in those villages. And to your question, the fact that my city is going through the same thing, and it's in America, it's not a third world country, is even crazier and mind blowing. So when that happened, it definitely made me go harder.
We'll go over here next.
How you doing?
What's going on, big dog?
So, seeing how you're playing with Luka, and 3 of the most recent MVPs have all come from overseas, which do you think is a better system to develop NBA talent, the AAU system here in America or the international system that we see overseas?
So no, I don't think the system overseas is better at developing any NBA talent. I feel like in America we have so much NBA talent that is saturated to where it's some NBA talent that just is not going to get drafted this year. It's never going to touch a court in the NBA ever. But it's just so much talent out here. Now, development-wise, when it comes to over there, you find those little pockets of countries. For example, you got Luka, you got Jokic, you got Giannis. Those literally all different countries. But then you look at all the all-stars in America who are from America. Those are all different states. Some from the same state, some from the same city. So it's very concentrated out here, to where it's a lot of talent, but everybody not gonna make it. To where it's out there, it's a lot of talent, but it's certain pockets where you can find those. But the development out there is definitely great, just because they get to play pro with grown men at 15, 14 type energy. And they get to figure it out early. Like, this ain't for me or it's for me. We don't get to figure that out until we get to go to college. And then we're like, all right, we're in college. We're actually alone. We're now NIL, so now we're actually getting paid. So now we get the aspect of, okay, I got to know how to be responsible with my money and play basketball. So it's definitely a slower process out here, but there's definitely 15-year-olds who can come from here, go overseas. For Brandon Jennings did it, you know what I'm saying, who can go over here, play overseas, be successful, and come into the league. But I don't necessarily think it's more or less talent overseas or being developed. I just feel like America has such a high concentration of talent that just selection, just pure selection, everybody can't be picked. Yeah. Great question,
Appreciate your
by the
question,
way.
fam. We'll take one more here.
How you doing, King?
What's going on?
So as a human, as an artist, as a creative, and an athlete, how do you find the time to delegate to all of your passions?
So you use the word delegation. You know what I'm saying? You don't really delegate all your passions. You really delegate the tasks that you don't think. Like, there's a couple of tasks, literally, like, for example, taxes. Like, you definitely want to delegate that to the right person, but people who can't afford a tax person, like, I couldn't imagine, like, having to figure out what your taxes are, then having to go to practice, then having to figure out how you're gonna pay for daycare, then having to figure out, like, it's a lot. So you get to figure, luckily I'm in the NBA, so I can afford to delegate a lot of things to where now I can do things that are my passion that aren't gonna make me money immediately. I get to go in my room by myself and make beats for hours every day. You know what I'm saying? I get to go watch movies and get ideas and find my passion. And I get to search the internet, but everybody, the working class doesn't get that opportunity. They gotta go to work. You get what I'm saying? They got to work up at 8 and get off at 5. And then when they get off at 5, they got to go pick up their kids. And now they got to spend time with their kids. And now, so like you said, it's the delegation. And I'm not going to lie, delegation is a rich man's sport unless you're alone. If you're alone, you're by yourself, then especially as a single person, I feel like you have the upper hand over anybody. I say that all the time to where like I see people who don't have kids and they're like, it's just not blah, blah, woo, woo. I'm like, bro, we have whole humans we got to take care of. And we make it happen. So you're going to have to figure it out being by yourself, big dog, because this world ain't for the soft-hearted. You're gonna have to figure this out and figure out how to put yourself on that level and put yourself in the rooms with people you need to be in the rooms with. Because if you have kids, I know people who had kids like 17 and they still made it. And I'm like, can you imagine having a child at 17 years old? You know nothing at 17 years old. You know nothing, and you just made a human, bro. You just made a whole human who depends on you. So I'm just saying, you definitely have to lock in and delegate things that aren't for you. But also lock in on the thing, like I said, basketball, that got you to where it was. So that would be my advice for sure.
Appreciate y'all. Appreciate y'all's questions. JaVale, thanks so much for kicking it with us today.
Sure.
We appreciate you sharing your story, man.
I appreciate the invite.
I'm looking forward to seeing where else you go in your career.
For sure.
And I'm also looking forward to new projects you're producing, right?
For sure.
So thank y'all so much for joining us today. Appreciate y'all questions. JaVale, thank you, brother. I appreciate you. We got to get you back here on Bars and Nuggets.
You know it.